Hey guys, so I'm going to call this Marketing Monday. And Megan had asked a question about Google AdWords and planning and trying to figure out what your budget should be. And I'm sure that other people have a similar question. So I just wanted to go ahead and put together a quick video to kind of show the quick and dirty answer on how you can do this. The easiest way is to actually use Google's own keyword planner. So you'll see that this has a link up here. It says adwords.google.com/home/tools/keyword-planner. The easiest way that I get to it is I go to Google and I type in Google Keyword Planner and it brings me to this page. Whatever you do, don't click this Start Now button. That will actually take you into the kind of ads manager, which we really want to be using the Keyword Planner. So we're going to start here and click Start Using Keyword Planner. So then you'll see that it has three different options as far as find new keywords and get search volume data. This is where I always start. So I choose the middle one where get search volume data and trends. And this is where you can then enter keywords and choose the location. So Megan had said foster care, and she wanted to look at that for Grand Rapids. So you come down here under targeting, and by default it says all locations. Here we'll type in Grand Rapids and we'll add that, and then you can also go over here and click nearby, and that'll kind of help you open it up a little bit. But as far as just right now, I'm just going to do Grand Rapids, and you have to click save, because if you just click off of it, it'll default to what it was, all locations. So make sure that you hit save, because I made that mistake before. So foster care, Grand Rapids, click next. And you'll see it starts to show the volume over different periods of time. So for whatever reason, she's in the industry, I'm not, but there's more searches kind of in the beginning of the year, and then it tapers off in the middle of the year, and then ramps back up again kind of in Q3 going into Q4. And so you'll see on average, there's about 40. And so the competition is low, which is always a good thing. You know, anytime somebody has high competition, the cost per click is typically higher. And here it shows you a suggested bid of $5.61 per click. So this only tells you part of the story, because the second question was, well, what should her budget be? And now, you know, yeah, you could say, well, I want 100 clicks, so 100 clicks times 561 is going to be $561. But that doesn't really solve the question of what should a budget be to see results. So the way that I typically do it is I kind of start to work backwards. So if I know that I'm going to be paying $5.61 clicks, $5.61 per click, and I get, for this example, let's just say 100 clicks, okay? That means I've spent $561. If we have 100 people that are landing on this, okay, let me preface this with, you should never run traffic to your website, to the homepage of your website. I'll say it again. You should never run traffic to the homepage of your website. There are too many other distractions that the viewer will get lost by. They'll basically, you know, they'll want to click on 10 different links, and sometimes they won't take any action. So what I always recommend is that if you're running paid ads, you should always have a landing page, a dedicated landing page with one goal that takes them there. Whether, like in this example, you might want to take them to a landing page that gives them a guide of first steps, you know, 10 things you need to know about foster care, or something to get them to opt in and start that conversation, start that nurturing process, because I would presume in something like this, it's not, you know, quick sale like you have something with e-commerce, right? That's a very different type of paid traffic process. But in this example, you're going to want to get them to convert, to get some kind of action taken on their part. And typically what people do is they'll want to collect their email address so that they can then continue to email them through email marketing. They can continue to nurture them and nurture that relationship and move them down deeper in the funnel and into the buyer cycle. So if you have 100 people going to a landing page, and let's just say on average 20% convert, that means now you have 20 people who have put in their email. So Megan's example, they're a nonprofit, but let's say that these 20 people in a different, say, B2B or B2C example, say these 20 people put in their email address, and then from that you can convert, say 5%. Okay, that is one person. Okay, so that means that one person, so if your sale price for whatever you're selling generates one sale, and let's say it's, $1,000, well, then this wasn't too bad depending on, what your costs are, whether it's a product or service, but you've invested $561 to get one customer and you make 1,000. Now, if this isn't the case and you make $100, well, this model would never work because you realize that you're spending $561 and only selling $100. So you're losing $461. So that's why it's so important to figure out the CAC, which is your customer acquisition cost. And that's the number of what it takes you to acquire a new customer. So this is kind of how I work backwards, and 20% is a round number. You might get 15, you might get 30, you might get 40 or 50. If it's highly targeted traffic on something and it's a really good offer or incentive for them to convert on the landing page, then this may be higher, but it also may be lower. So 20% is a good baseline to use that we kind of run our math off of. So for example, if but see, the other thing is that if this is, if one person, right, if you know that you need to sell a certain number, right, so if you're going back to this, if you sell an item that's $1,000 and you know that you just acquired one customer for $561 in this example, but you really need to make your revenue goal is 10K, well, then you know that if right now one sale is equaling $1,000 in this model for 100 clicks, well, now to 10x this revenue that you've made from this one customer, you know that you need 10 more customers, which means that you have to work all the way back up here and say, oh shit, I need 10x this number. So now you need 1,000 people in the top of the funnel. You need to spend $5,610 in ad spend to get 1,000 people in your funnel, and at 20% to get 200 to opt in, and then those 200, if you have 5% that convert into a customer, well, now you have 10 customers at $1,000 each, and now you have your $10,000. But oftentimes people don't see how their whole funnel looks like from the top to the bottom. They just look at the ad spend, and that's what drives me nuts is when people do Facebook ads and they're like, well, I spent a penny to get a penny per new follower to get, or to get 5,000 likes or whatever. It's like, yeah, but that's useless if it doesn't somehow play into the bigger picture of your customer acquisition, to figuring out your customer acquisition costs and to hitting those revenue goals. So anytime you do paid marketing, these clicks are important. You're paying for these clicks. So you have to figure out, like, okay, as they go down this funnel, right, as they descend down the funnel, what is it, what's going to really come out down here at the bottom? And that's where you can start to use some of these metrics of just, figuring it out. And depending on what you do and what you're selling per se, again, Megan's example is a nonprofit, but this 5% might be higher, it might be lower. But this gives you a good baseline of, what to expect. And that way, when you start to build out these campaigns and aggregate the data, you can look at these numbers and say, okay, I'm high or I'm low, and figure out what to change, what to stop, what to iterate on, what to do more of, because naturally you want to pour more money into whatever's working. So hopefully this helped, Megan, and this was kind of a little bit of crash course on a little bit of AdWords and planning, but more importantly, how to figure out if it can work for you. So let me know if you guys have any questions.